Hey, Tim. This is Danny Smith. Just calling to tell you how much I appreciate listening to your show, Truckers' Voices. It's very informative. I really like hearing the drivers' stories, how they got into the trucking industry, and maybe what kind of trucks they started out with. And it's just been a lot of fun, and I would encourage any drivers out there to tune in and listen, call in, be a part of it. It's a great show.
Hey, this is Chuck Lopesiger, and I listen to Truckers' Voices every Thursday evening from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern on Facebook or YouTube with host Tim Taylor and co-host Steve Brand because it keeps me informed about the industry and the drivers that keep our country moving forward. Don't forget, Thursday, 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern. Be there.
Hi, this is Scott Post, and I love Truckers' Voices because there's always something entertaining and educational for our industry. And it's also hosted by two of my good friends, Tim Taylor and Steve Brad. Tune in tonight. And in the meantime, be safe out there.
Hey everybody, how you doing tonight? My name's Charlie Demchuk, and I'm here to welcome you to tonight's big show. Y'all sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Tim and Steve got a good one in store for you. So have a good night. We'll see you.
Hi, this is Tony Wainwright. I hope you enjoy listening to Truckers' Voices as much as I do. Now, without any further ado, kick back, kick your shoes off, air your corns out, and get ready to listen to another fine show.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good out there in the Facebook, YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. I hope everybody's doing good out there, and I hope that you had a good day of trucking today. Hey, we got a good show in store for you tonight on Truckers' Voices. Hey, we got Miss Susie Lyons coming up, and I'm going to let her tell you all about her story, how she got into trucking, where she trucks at. Everything. I don't think y'all going to want to miss this. Okay. So, y'all just kind of sit back, like Tony Wainwright said at the end of the promo there, and relax and, kick your shoes off. So, yeah, we got a good one in store for you tonight. Now, right before I get ready to bring my buddy old Steve Brand in here, I do want to tell everybody from last week's show, we had a great show on the Safety Drive for a Cure post show. We actually raised some money and did not expect to do it last week on last week's show. But I think we raised about $1,700 to add to the total. And I think that's going to put us up over $54,000 raised this year in 2024 for the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation. So, you know what? My hat's off to everybody that stepped up, that helped out. And I'm telling you, you guys and gals of the trucking industry, you never cease to amaze me. You always step up at the right time. But without further ado, let me bring my buddy Steve Brand on in here.
Riding dirty, baby, riding dirty.
Steve Brand, have you been riding dirty lately?
Oh, my truck is so filthy. It's unbelievable, buddy. It's just terrible. It's terrible.
Not,
it won't quit raining.
I could say it's not snowing up there.
No, but it's raining, man. It just rains all the time. It's supposed to rain here tonight. You know, I got a deal I got to do up there in Northeast Ohio on Saturday, and it's supposed to rain in the morning. Hope it clears out. It's supposed to clear out so I can get that truck all cleaned up, looking pretty.
Oh yeah.
Deal. But,
yes, sir.
Well,
I've been doing good, man. I've been staying, well, I can't say I'm staying as busy because I kind of throttled back and took that little short run this time on this bid, and I'm actually liking it. And, the paycheck's a little bit different, but, I just wanted a break from Atlanta. I did not realize it the other day. I had been running straight to Atlanta every day for the last 2 years. Who does that? Who is crazy enough to run up to Atlanta, Georgia every day? I mean,
Tim Taylor.
this guy
Tim
right
Taylor. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. That's what I'm talking about. Nah, it's all good, man. It's all good. You know, that's the flexibility we got with this job. We can bid different runs, and you know, sometimes that'll last 3 months, sometimes that'll last 6 months, sometimes they'll throw a little spinner in there, it'll last 8, 9 months. You never know, but you know, you got a little flexibility. You can go here, go there, do what you got to do. It's all
Oh
good.
yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
You know,
Steve, I'm looking over here on the Truckers Voices page, and I see that we got Chris Howard watching, Scott Post watching, Chris Lockhart watching, and you know, I got several of them watching over here. How many you got watching over there on the page that you're monitoring?
yeah, I got Mr. Mike Middleton. I got Nancy Post watching. I got David Young watching. Mike Keller's out there. Charlie Fuller. How's everybody doing tonight, man? I hope everybody's doing good.
Charlie Fuller down there in Miami, Florida.
I bet he's about to burn up.
Yeah, I bet he is too.
I tell you what, it's been good spring weather up here, but it's fixing to get a little chilly.
Oh yeah.
You
Steve,
know,
you want to read that off? You want to take care of the legal stuff for me?
yeah, we might as well go ahead and get that legal stuff out of the way. The views expressed on the show are those of the host and the guest only and do not reflect those of others. So please don't get offended. I'm trying not to say anything offensive.
I tell you what,
Hey,
this day and time, you know, it's a shame we even have to put a disclaimer up here, right?
oh, I know it, man. It's to the point you pass somebody, you know, going in a truck stop, coming out, you say good morning, you make them mad. And it's like, what? You know, I'm just trying to be friendly. But
Right.
no, it's all good, man. It's all good. And like we always tell the guest, and we tell all you out there watching us, this show ain't scripted. It's just us and the guest, and we wanna know about you, and you.
All right.
And how'd you get in trucking and everything? That's what this is about, man.
Right, right. And since you said that, that's when I think about people and how they got in trucking and how long they've been in trucking. Our next guest coming up, wow! I talked to her just a little bit the other day, and she told me a little bit about herself. And I was like, hold on, let's save some of that for.
Exactly.
So, anyway, I'm excited to have Miss Susie on here. So let's not belabor this anymore. Let's bring Miss Susie on here, but I'm gonna give her our proper introduction like we do everybody else. Okay?
Sounds good to me.
She is a champion in her own right. Miss Susie, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you.
So we gave you a proper introduction there with the Rocky theme because you are a champ in this industry for sure.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. I'm honored.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and we're just going to sit back and listen, and then we'll just jump right on into the interview after that. Okay.
Okay. This is my 45th year of trucking. I started in this industry right out of high school. I actually knew how to drive before I even got out of high school. And I went to work for a trucking company and learned the office criteria first. I wanted a year of that in the office to see what goes on in there. And from there, I jumped in a truck and never stopped since.
All right. So tell us a little bit about where are you from?
I'm on the east coast of Canada. I'm based out of New Brunswick.
Okay. And so you're considered a Canadian trucker, right?
I am, but I spent more time in the U.S. trucking than I have in Canada, to be truthful with you.
I got you. And who do you drive for?
I work for DNR.
DNR, okay.
Yeah.
How many trucks does DNR have?
I'm not sure. They're more owner-operators, probably 400 or 500. They're quite large, yeah.
Okay. Do you own your own truck, Miss Susie?
No, I'm a company driver.
Company driver. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's awesome. So let's back up a little bit and let's go back to when you first got into the trucking industry. You've been in the trucking industry for 45 years now, and you got into trucking right out of high school. Tell me how that come about.
Okay, I grew up in a trucking family. My dad had trucks. And every time I got the opportunity to be able to get a truck ride or help him around the truck, whether he be greasing the truck or cleaning the truck, I was right there hands-on. I wanted to learn. I wanted to be around that truck, especially my truck drives with him. I always remember riding with him and looking down and just seeing all men. There was never any ladies driving. And even when we stopped at the truck stop, there was no ladies around. They always seemed to be men. You know, once in a while you might see somebody, you know, like a couple, their wife or girlfriend with them, but never anybody behind the wheel. So I said to my dad, I said, why is that? You know, and he said, well, my dad has passed on now, but I always carry this quote with me forever. I get all choked up when I start talking about this. But anyway, he told me the steering wheel doesn't know who's holding it. So I ran with that quote, and ever since I set out to change the world and bring more women into the business, and I've been quite successful with being part of Women in Trucking. I'm on their image team, so I represent Canada and the U.S. I just came back from MATS, represented down there, helped out with their industry down there, and I'm a member of anything I can do to help out and contribute in any way, shape, or form to do with that. I do a lot of Girl Galley events at schools and high school levels. I think it's important to get trucking introduced to the young high school kids at that age, so they get a opportunity to climb up into a truck and see what it's all about and get a feel for it, and sitting up there behind the wheel and just all those good things, and just chatting in general about trucking and my amazing opportunities and experiences that I've had along the way. I just right here to try to pass that on to the future generation.
Absolutely. Steve, you got it. Go ahead.
I'm assuming when you started, you probably started out in a cab over, correct?
There was cab overs. Yes, exactly.
Right. Don't you see a few out on the highway? You know, nowadays, them guys are bringing them out of the barnyards and redoing them and everything. Just out of curiosity, do you have a dedicated run, or do you run all over Canada, all over the U.S., or how does that work?
Just an open board. There's no schedule. Yeah, just run wild, as they call it, I guess.
So are you gone quite a few weeks at a time, or you try to get back home every week or every other week?
I try every week to get back home, yes.
Okay. So you do you run up and down the East Coast a lot, or do you? I know, excuse me. I know you said you used to run California all the time. Do you try to stay closer?
Yes, I'm more on the East Coast now that I am out that way. I miss out running out to California. That's what I did for many years, haul produce back to the market in Toronto. That was my run, Toronto up the California points and mostly LA area, load my produce and back to the Toronto market. That was what I did for many, many years.
Right. Are you still running produce out of Canada then, coming down to the U.S.?
I do a little bit of everything, whether it be whatever LTL produce, whatever it is. I do reefer and dry van.
Okay. Busy.
Yeah.
Wow. You're busy.
So, Susie, let's go and let's talk about women in trucking a little bit. And how long have you been involved with the women in trucking?
Sorry. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
No, sorry about that. There was an incoming call. I apologize for that.
That's
No
all right.
problem. Hey, so how long have you been with women in trucking?
Women in Trucking. I first formed with them back in 2014. I signed up for a membership, and I won a lot of their contests they had for photo contests that they had. I won a lot of that, and from there it just went on. I joined their image team. I had the opportunity to join their image team, and after many rigorous interviews, I got accepted to be part of their image team for Canada, which, like I said, I do both sides of the border now, Canada and US. I'm active at MATS, and wherever they need me, I'm there, right?
So tell us a little bit about the image team. What is the image team, and what does it do?
Well, our image team, we're involved with a lot of events and try to promote the women into trucking. We have a lot of memberships, like we operate like with memberships, and people get, we have like a lot of, we have a site on Facebook and on the Women in Trucking site, where we can interact and all that sort of thing. And we go out into the communities and bring our Women in Trucking trailer, which is Whitney. And we have like a truck simulator in that where people can get to feel what it's really like to drive a truck, just sitting there and just promote the industry in general and try to get our numbers up for the number of ladies in the business.
So you say that there's a Canadian side and an American side on that. So do you all use the same truck, or do you have two different trucks that run in those areas?
Well, it's all in the U.S. side. They don't come across here with the trailer or anything like that as of yet, but it's all on the U.S. side. And
Okay.
yeah,
I could
but I
imagine.
do like any truck shows or anything like that to represent them here in Canada as well as the U.S. and all of that, all over wherever we need it, right?
I got you. I got you. So when you and I was talking the other day, you told me that you have moved back up there because your mom's up there, right?
Right.
Yeah. And anyway, so where did you live before that? Uh, in the U.S., right?
Yeah, I was in Toronto. I lived in Toronto and based out of there and ran out to the U.S. So that's what I did back and forth for many years. Yeah, out of California, Los
I got,
Angeles area. Yeah.
I got you. So what kind of challenges do you face? Running from Canada into the lower 48.
Well, it's got a lot better than what it was when I started trucking. Women are more accepted now into the industry, as you know. We got our voice out there and we're here and we can do the job well. At first, when I started trucking, there was a lot of questions from people like, can you do this? And, the safety aspect. I'm on the TA Women's Safety Advisory Panel as well. We're trying to promote more safety and, any questions that come up, just addressing the situation and trying to make it safer for women at the TA truck stops as well. Like I said, there's a lot of challenges. It was a big safety issue, like now being on the panel, we can address some of these questions that ladies have or we all have. And I'm very proud of the TA for stepping up and trying to make it a safety, place for us, and like to have a safe place to call, our night, like we're going to sleep overnight and stuff like that, and more lights in the parking areas. I'm just proud of them for stepping up to the plate and addressing the situation for us all.
Right, absolutely. And before I move on, Steve, do you have anything right, before I move on to the next part of what I wanted to say?
No, go ahead, Tim.
Okay, so I'm glad you talked about the TA there. So tell us about what year was you nominated as an honoree as a citizen driver?
In 2022, and I was nominated. My best friend Candy Bass, she's well known in the industry, she nominated me. And she said, I think you should have this award, girl, she said. So anyway, she nominated me and I got it. And I was just totally honored to be part of the TA family, which we welcome you, Tim, now as well. And Matt, you got to be part of our family. So that is amazing as you get the feeling and the love from everybody that's all a TA citizen driver. Right. And I chose Barstow, California, because like I said, I was always in Barstow. No matter if I came across 40, if I came out of Vegas, or I come, across Mojave, I'm 58, everywhere I connected, it was in Barstow. I always stopped to get my truck washed at Little Sisters, and, that was always my stop. So when I had the opportunity to choose a truck stop, Barstow was right there.
I got you. Go ahead, Steve.
I'm going to go back to when you started and versus today and through the years. How was you accepted at your scale houses, DOT inspections, things of that nature, as being a minority when you first started? Because like you said, I come out in 1989. There was very few women out here. So how was you accepted by law enforcement, DOT, things of that nature?
I was pulled into the scales a lot. I was checked. I will be truthful with you. I think they wanted to see who I was and what I was and make sure I was qualified to be behind the wheel, right? So I do think I maybe was pulled into the scales a little bit more often than I should have been, but I just accepted the challenge. So I always had my paperwork in order and met them with a smile. I think your business card is your smile. If you can open your, smile to somebody, it just says a lot of things about you. So you treat them right and they'll treat you right. That's how I was always respected of the scale houses and DOT enforcement.
Exactly. And the way I was taught, the first 15 seconds of that stop is going to dictate how that stop goes.
I totally agree with you.
You come out of that truck
Absolutely.
with an attitude, he's going to cop an attitude, or she's going to cop an attitude.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. You got
Yeah,
that right.
I was just curious because you was one of very few of the minority, and I could see that because back then we didn't have pre passes, so you didn't get the green light, and you always had to cross the scales, and I could see them being curious. Was I hate to say it this way, and I'm not trying to laugh. It's not funny, but was you being held hostage? Was you being forced to drive that truck and get a criminal across the border or something like that? I don't know. I mean, that's you never know what they're thinking. But
Exactly. You never do at the border either. And it's still, anytime you ever do cross the border, it's like, you're treated like everybody else and you're
Right.
subject to search and inspection, whatever. I've been through many of them, but you're just part of the group, right?
exactly.
So,
ahead.
so I want to go back and talk a little bit about Citizen Driver. And Susie, if you don't mind, I'm going to share a picture from your Facebook page. Okay, if that's okay with you.
Oh, that's absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, should be sharing it now. So, talk to us a little bit about this picture that's on the screen here.
Yeah, that was part of my photo shoot that I did. They, as you know, they want to do a professional photo so they can have for their plaques. And that was a picture of me with my Peterbilt.
Right. And I'm going to see if
my plaque. Yes.
And there's your front of your TA
Yes.
in Barstow.
Yes.
So, all right. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. And, I'm looking forward to that too. I know that she told me the other day that those brass plaques, they take like 12 weeks in production. And I was like, wow, that takes a while for that. So, anyway, I'm going to have mine. My celebration probably around October, and so I'm going to wait till the weather's a little bit cooler down here in South Georgia.
Yes, they're absolutely beautiful. Like I said, your picture is embossed right in them with your write-up. In Barstow, there's one at the front of the truck stop, and the other one at the driver's entrance. And then inside, they have the other big plaque and big write-up inside across from their subway. So anybody wants to know anything, just stop and read my info there. All my bio's up there. So it's quite an honor.
So I was going to ask you about that. Can you kind of summarize, because we couldn't see it on there, can you tell us about what's on that write-up on that plaque?
It's just like the plaque is just saying how many years I've been in the business and what I've done, all of my accomplishments. They briefly wrote some of my accomplishments up there, my charity work and what I've did to give back to communities. It's just a write-up about all of that and to inspire the next generation of ladies into the business. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. So with that said, with some of the charities, so what's some of the charities that you help out with?
I do a lot of work with cancer research and awareness. That's my charity. So like with breast cancer, colon cancer, do charities and raise fundraisers for that. So that's my biggest charity, is doing that. I do a lot of volunteer work as well, but when I have the time, but that's my goal, is to raise money for cancer research and awareness, which I've had a lot of relatives pass from that and friends. So I think we need to get more funding for that. So yes, that's what I do.
Yep. And Steve and I, we work closely with the Safety Drive for a Cure, which we support the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation. And I think everybody somehow, some way in this nation should know somebody that has been affected by cancer in some form or fashion. And it's a dreaded disease that we definitely, the research that goes into it, we definitely need to find a way to cure it and to eradicate it. So I applaud you for that, Susie. I really do. That is a great charity. So your dad was a trucker. So tell us a little bit about your dad and his trucking years that you know.
Well, back in the days, we never had the equipment like we have today, of course, right? The big shiny trucks. But like I said, he hauled general freight, more or less, dry vans and reefers, and whatever. But yeah, just whatever they get in the trailer back in the days. But there was nowhere the comforts of what we have today and know today with our air rides and all that. You know, it's like they were rough riding trucks. I do remember that. But yeah, that's what he did for a living for many years and was very successful. And like I said, I wanted to follow on into his little girl that becomes a truck driver. So that's what I did. So much to my mom's disappointment, she didn't want me to go down this road, but my dad was extremely proud of me. And I know deep inside she is too, but she always worried a lot about me and still worries about me. So I guess that's the thing. And mom was always going to worry about her little girl, right? So to her, I'm still a little girl, you know, I mean, worries about me just as if I was, you know, just a little girl under her wing still. But I'm out there in the big world and proving to her that I can do this and been very successful in helping and doing for others and trying to open doors and always trying to move forward and with advancements.
Right, right. And, you know, mothers are going to worry no matter what you're doing and no matter how old you are. You know, mothers are going to worry about their children. So
Exactly.
if they didn't, something's wrong there. So
Right.
anyway.
Do you have brothers and sisters that followed in the trucking industry also?
I have one brother that's in the trucking, and that's all. The other one, no, and my sister, no. So I was the only one.
Did we lose her? Oh,
Sorry about that.
She must have got another call.
She must have heard me talking about her, right? Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what the first company that you ever went to work for. Tell us a little bit about that, Susie.
Okay, the first company I went to work for is the company I went to work in the office for. And I started out there, like I said, I spent a year in the office. That was my goal. Learn everything about dispatch and permits, everything I had to know about the business. So anyway, I learned that. And I spent time there driving, and then I moved to Ontario, and I started my whole new career out of Ontario. And I wanted, my advancement there was to go to the U.S. That's what was my goal. And that's what I set out in that path to do. And I've been very successful, and I was getting a lot of opportunities. And like I said, it was just a wide open road, and away I went, and never looked back.
I got you. So how long have you been with DNR?
2 years with them after, yeah, I was with another company back here, and then I moved over to them, yeah. So
Okay, all right. So what kind of commodity does DNR haul?
everything they do everything from, like I said, reefer, dry van, they have flatbeds, they have, you know, it's a little bit of everything, so, yeah.
So are you a volume truckload carrier or are you like an LTL?
More full loads. There is LTL, but I'm more of a full load carrier, yeah, that I do.
I got you. All right. So over the years in trucking, how has trucking improved in your opinion?
It's improved substantially from like I said, our trucks in general have improved. Our ride has improved. The truck stops have improved somewhat, and somewhat they went the other way. So there's goods and bads. I like the old style truck stops we used to have in the olden days where you went in and people knew you. You could sit down and have a cup of coffee with friends that you'd made along the way. But now it's a total different thing. People, you know, eat on the trucks and don't socialize as much. I miss that aspect of trucking where I see people more or less hide out and eat the trucks where we used to go in and sit down and have a cup of coffee, you know, conversation, whatever. But I'm seeing that end of the world has kind of changed and evolved around a whole different breed, different generations, as you probably all have seen too. So the comfort, like I said, of the trucks today has improved substantially. Our highways, yes, they've improved a bit compared to what we used to have back in the days. Pre-passes at the scales. There's lots of positive images have developed over the years compared to what we used to have.
Okay, I'm gonna let Steve speak to that because he's been an over the road trucker. I've never have been an OTR. I've always been LTL. My whole 30 years I've been here. That's all I've ever done. LTL. So go ahead, Steve.
I'll just start with the questions. Have you been to all of the lower 48 or what? I guess an easy question. Is there any states you haven't been to?
I've been to most all of them, I think, but like I said, my run pretty much was out west. Like I said, I ran out there and I did the Northwest up to Washington, Oregon, crossed over Washington over to Vancouver, Canada, went over that way. But basically my runs were to California and like down to Yuma, Arizona, like load of produce there, and then back across 40. That was basically 80 and 40 was my routes. That was my main routes I've done through my trucking career.
Okay. Have you living in Canada, but I know you're on the eastern side. Have you ever went over to the western side and done the ice road trucking?
No, I didn't do ice road trucking, but we get some pretty bad roads here. It's almost like ice road trucking. I guess you could kind of compare it, even running out across 80 there, going across Wyoming and stuff. That's almost like ice road trucking there sometimes too, right? So
Exactly.
yeah, it's not very pleasant some days.
Yeah, we may not be crossing no ponds and lakes, but we call it ice road trucking too when it gets pretty nasty out here. So, but how did COVID affect you as a driver? I know that's when things really fired up of men and women in the truck, started cooking in the truck, doing a lot more in the truck. How did that affect you and the restroom facilities and the other facilities at your shippers and receivers and things like that nature? How can you kind of elaborate how COVID affected you?
Yes, COVID sure changed things in the trucking industry, as we all know. We were more accepted and welcomed by people because we had all their supplies when all their shelves were all getting empty. I found that a lot of the customers, I did a lot of grocery runs back during COVID. I held a lot of groceries, so I did a lot of stops in a day. I found that the people like at the grocery stores where I would deliver, they were covered out with all these little goodie bags for me. Come on up front, they'd say, pick up what you want from our deli, whatever they were offering. It's all free food, free drinks. I mean, they were bending over backwards in that aspect because they realized, we had nothing.
And we lost our audio there for a second.
No.
Yeah, COVID did change things. Like I said, people were more welcoming, but there was restroom closures, there were shower closures. I don't think people realized the tough times that we went through when people were denying us a washroom, and especially being a woman, that was very difficult when you're denied access to go to a ladies' room. Overall, we had some people that were very open with the truck stops. There's one lady in Nova Scotia. Her name was Crystal, and she ran a little private truck stop. And she opened her doors, and she was offering all the truckers free meals, everything during COVID just by donation. So she didn't close her washroom. She didn't close her showers. She offered us free food during COVID. But all of us truckers will all just put a donation in her jar anyway and to help out with things. But she was one of my most special experiences during COVID, how she bent over backwards to go out of her way, working long, hard hours just to feed us and keep us all happy, keep us all going up and down the road with everything that we needed. So
right.
My hat goes off to Crystal.
Yes.
So it is 8:33 now. So I'm going to go ahead and we can continue with the interview, but I'm just going ahead and open up the phone line. If somebody calls in, we'll just break right in and we'll take their call. But if you listening audience, if you want to call in and talk to Susie, talk to Steve, talk to me, or just talk, give us a call at 251-616-2151. That's 251-616-2151. I put it in the comments on Truckers Voices page. So we would love to hear your phone calls there. I got a couple of comments on here. Scott Post says, good evening, everybody. And Esther Moore says, hi, Susie. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Esther. Nice to hear from you.
Yeah, so I would like to hear from Esther if she wants to call in. That would be great to hear her in there. And but anyway, so Susie, tell me, is there any loads? I guess that's the way I want to say it. Is there any loads that stick out to you over your career of 45 years that you remember? That something special you did, or you had a hard time with the load, or what?
something really special. Oh, I can tell you a story. I used to haul out to Long Beach, California all the time. And back in the day, I was asked at the shop from the guys in Ontario that worked at our shop. They asked me, like, going to Long Beach all the time. They said, well, you go down at this place called West Coast Chopper. Well, I didn't know what West Coast Chopper was. I was hardly ever home to watch TV. I didn't have a clue what it was. So anyway, I dropped my load of nickel in Long Beach, and I drove over to West Coast Chopper. And they were all out at their lunch wagon, lunch truck, whatever, the canteen truck mobile that came around. And they were all getting lunch, and they were oohing and ahhing over the truck that I was driving. I had kind of like a extended hood Peterbilt with 147-inch fluid on the hydraulics, 320-inch wheelbase on the 48-foot stainless reefer. So I stood out to them. Well, okay, I'm feeling very welcome by these people, this group of guys. So anyway, they showed me where to park. So I pulled up, and they welcomed me, and I go inside to their shop, and I'm looking around, and first thing I see all these awesome old cars and bikes, and and then I go into the gift shop, and I see a fish tank full of piranhas and all of this going on. I'm thinking, well, this is a very interesting place. So long story short, I get to meet Jesse James. I didn't even know who West Coast Chopper was back in the day, but anyway, I got to meet his first wife, his 2 children, and himself, and all the shop people, and bought T-shirts, and like I said, didn't even know who he was. And lots of times I'd be driving Long Beach, delivering my load of nickel again, and he'd go through with his old car, give me a thumbs up out the window, and I thought, how cool is that? There goes Jesse James. But yeah, that's just one of the stories I remember. But I didn't know, like I said, I never got to watch TV much, so that was just one of the stories that kind of stood out when you asked me something special or something that happened. It was nearly nothing to do with the load. It's just that the load took me on that adventure to get to the West Coast Chopper. So yeah, that's how that all went down.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I think that we've all met and seen people out here on the, in the industry that, otherwise had we been doing something else, we never would have, got to meet them. And
Right.
so, those are special times. I think one of the most unusual things that I picked up before was alligator skins, and we were shipping them down to Miami, which they were going to be shipped on down to Puerto Rico, but it was alligator skins, and I went to an alligator farm to pick these things up, and I'm like, wow, I guess this is an industry too. People raise alligators just for the skins,
Wow, we've never known that.
Yeah. So I guess alligator boots and alligator purses or whatever,
Yeah.
Hey,
so, go ahead, Steve.
Trucks move it. Trucks move it. You got it. We got to move it. I mean, that's the thing. Talk about straying lows. I was over in this is back in 90. Yeah, late 89, early 90. I was in El Paso, and the company I was working for had me drop my 48 at the time, and I went and picked up a 57 footer. 57 footers was legal in Texas. Well, then I had to go to this body shop and they put 2 vents in my trailer, one in the nose, one in the back. One was up high, one was down low. And so I went over to this warehouse, and he had me pull in beside the warehouse. And he come out, and they took us big holes. And I mean, this thing probably 14, 16 inches around, and they attached it to the front of the truck on that vent. And they filled that whole 57-footer trailer full of ping pong balls. And I had to go from El Paso to Houston. I get to Houston, they got a big vacuum, and they opened the door and started sucking them out. Once they got it where they could open the swing doors, and a guy got in there and he sucked all the ping pong balls out, put them they went on a conveyor belt, and they stamped names or brands or whatever. Then he turned around and loaded it back, and I took it back to El Paso. They packaged it up, and I have no idea where it went. But it's like, are you kidding me? Why can't this place just do it all right here? Well, back in the 80s, like the guy said, it's the expense, and it was cheaper to do it that way than it was for him to add all the machinery and everything and the expansion to the building. And that was pretty weird. That was kind of wild. I mean, I have no idea how many ping pong balls was in a 57-foot trailer.
Wow.
But yeah, it was kind of weird. I mean, I could do that all the time. That was awesome.
Light load anyway, right?
Light load. And of course, at the time I had a 64 mile an hour truck. So, didn't do me much good.
Exactly.
But,
I hear you.
but that's back in, that's when Texas was 55 at night and I think 60 during the day for truck drivers.
Right.
So,
Go ahead.
So, Susie, with cross-border trucking, how is that? Because that's something that Steve doesn't experience. I don't experience it. So, I know you probably pretty well got it down pat now. And but how has that changed over the years?
That's changed substantially from our manifest and everything. We used to have to write all out by hand. Now everything's all sent, in advance and pars and paps, and it's like everything's all, like I said, all pre-done. When you roll up to the border now, it's scanned. I remember 9/11, I did the truck show in Dallas at GATS, and I was coming up out of there, and that's when 9/11 happened. And everybody was concerned about getting across the border. I had a load going back to Canada. And anyway, I remember getting to Joplin and going in and grabbing some fuel at the petrol, went down to the next couple exits, went into Walmart to grab a couple things, and I'll never forget where I was when 9/11 happened. So anyway, after that happened, everything changed at the border. Everything all became, like I said, all electronic. Everything was all done in advance. We got fast cards. Everything changed substantially after that all happened, of course. And it's much faster, much better now than it ever was. So a lot of improvements here with crossing, with everything set up in advance.
So have you ever had any good or bad experiences that you can share with us that happened at the border crossing?
I've been delayed there. I've been searched. Maybe some complications with the paperwork, like with the customer. Maybe not the right stamping on, boxes or whatever. But I've been backed in and several times, checked over the years. And like I said, I've been held up maybe a day or something at customs because, maybe a weekend crossing and there's some, little criteria that they're missing and you might have to wait, for the broker to straighten that all out with the customer. But overall, I've had pretty good rating crossing the border.
Okay. All right. Now I want to talk about your truck, the one that you're driving now. Tell us a little bit about that. I'm going to go try to find a picture of it here real quick, too.
Okay. It's the Peterbilt.
Yes.
And it's a cool old truck. It's not brand new. And like I said, I drove a lot of old trucks. The oldest truck I drove was a 57. I'll go back and tell you about that. The oldest truck I drove was a 57, and my prized possession was the 87 Pete I drove, which was a long hood, like I said, extended out with 20 inches into the sleeper. You might have saw pictures on my Facebook or whatever about that. But so I have the Pete now, and it's a nice ride. Yeah.
I think it's red, right?
Yes.
Okay, let me see if I can share my screen with you, and I got a picture of you standing beside it here. Let's see, share screen. All right, here we go. And that's just like a little side picture of it there, though.
Yeah, that's a side picture. Yeah.
Yep.
That's the one I did for the TA for the photo shoot. Yeah. They hired photographers to come and do the photo shoots and all that. Yeah. Now you got my pictures from racing.
Yeah.
You got my race experience there. Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about your race experience there.
I was just
that's Kyle Larson. That's my race car driver. When I went to my dedication, I got invited to Las Vegas to be a VIP at the racetrack. So I got to go backstage and meet Kyle Larson. I got to meet Jeff Gordon, all my race car heroes. So I hung out with them for the day. I went to both races, but my Sunday race was Kyle Larson, which is the picture I took of him there. As you see, it was after the race, and he had won both stages. He had won the race, both stages in the race. And so, like I said, it was, that's not my truck there. That's a friend of my truck. Yeah. But anyway, I'm back to the race, and he won everything. So I had a great weekend.
That's awesome.
I was
Go ahead,
just
Steve.
say that one picture. Wasn't that Miss Candy?
Oh, Miss Candy, she's on there a lot. Yeah, we spent a lot of time in Nashville when my dedication. When I got called by me and Candy there. Yeah, for sure. That was at Matt. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Candy.
Oh, Candy, she's my absolutely inspiration. She's 79 years old and still trucking. Like I said, she's just in Barstow last night, spent the night there, and today there at my truck travel plaza in California. So she's still running long haul at 79 years old. She'll be 80 in December. She runs all over the United States. She's at all of our Women in Trucking function. She came to Louisville, so we hung out. And like I said, she's a total inspiration. I love Candy to death.
Right, right. And I was on interview with Ellen Voya Saturday, and and Candy had a segment after me, and I stuck around and I listened to her segment, and she was talking about some of your time that you all had in Nashville, Tennessee,
Yes.
and I think I mentioned this to you the other day. But if you don't know Candy, Candy wears glitter, and anywhere she goes, she leaves a trail of glitter. Is that right, there, Susie?
That is absolutely right. She'll spread her love with you with glitter from all of her hugs, and you'll be covered in her candy hugs or candy glitter when she's done hugging you. I mean, she would give you the shirt off her back. She's the most kindest person. Like I said, she's like family. She's a TA citizen driver as well, as we all know, and she had the Nashville truck stop, the TA, which we visited that when I was in Nashville with her. And now they've since tore that down, and she has a new one in Wildwood. So that was her new rededication in Wildwood, Florida, which she's hoping to retire. I don't know when. I don't think she's ever going to retire, but she said she's going to work at the TA when she retires in Wildwood. That's why she chose that one. But I don't think she'll ever retire. I mean, that is her life. I mean, she is just, like I said, she's family. She's not a friend. She's family.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and I actually I had the honor of meeting her there in Louisville this year, and she's just one. Well, I met a lot of good people, including yourself there, and
Thank you.
just one great person, Miss Candy is, and you yourself, and I'm just just honored to be a part of the family there, and it is a great family that I've been accepted into as far as with the TA family there, so. Looking forward to many years and looking forward to many more people being inducted as honorees.
Oh, absolutely. It's a great to see everybody, like when they get, to go all through the process. You have friends that get nominated and they'll say, oh, we made it to the next stage. I actually nominated a friend of mine, Carmen Anderson. She made it to the top 10 this year. So she was one of the finalists. So I'm super proud of her. She's on my image team and she won Women in Trucking. Well, actually, all three girls won Women in Trucking this year. All three finalists all got first place. So that's never happened. That was a history making at Women in Trucking, our salute. So
Right.
Made history. We've never had three winners. It was all three finalists. You got a first, second, third. I was their Women in Trucking Driver of the Year in 2020. And in 2022, I went on to I won a big award on a global platform for leadership from Women of Inspiration. So that was a global platform. I got that, and then I got my truck stop in 2022. So that was a big year for me.
So what is a big thing that women in trucking is doing? What is the big thing about what am I trying to ask here? I think I'm trying to say, what are they doing to attract more women into the trucking industry? Because I know that the percentage is up now, and I used to know the percentage of how many women were in trucking. But do you know what the image is now, and what are they doing?
I don't have the percentages right in front of me. I forget what they are, but they are definitely increasing our number of ladies into the industry. They're offering like scholarships and like just to go around with our trailer and to different organizations, different truck shows, wherever we go with that. It just opens up more opportunities for people to go through that and see and talk, and all of our events that we attend, all the conferences. We have our salute, we had our salute in Louisville and with Women in Trucking. And then we have in November, we have the conference in Dallas, which is a real great opportunity there for everybody to, all over the different trucking industries come and we all network. And I mean, it's a great show there. We all volunteer, like, they ask for volunteers. So, the ones that can make it, go to Dallas and volunteer. And like I said, it's a great place to network and learn all about the trucking industry. And like I said, we're just opening up more doors and showing women you can do this. So even at the salute, our numbers we're up there from what we normally had for ladies attending our salute and everything too. So that's all a positive side with selling our memberships and putting our numbers up. So I'm proud of that. Super proud of the team.
Gotcha. Go ahead, Steve.
Is there anything that you wanted to do in your career of trucking and you haven't got a chance to do it yet?
Hold on, Steve. Let's take this call, okay?
All right.
Hey, welcome to Truckers Voices. Who do we have on the phone tonight?
Hey, it's Ben Atkinson. How you doing, guys?
Hey, Ben. Good to hear you. You're on here with Steve and Susie, and of course, you know who I am, Tim.
Hey, man. Every time I watch your show, I get inspired and I get to see just so many new things. And Susie being in the industry, and it's just exciting to know. Yes, I've been doing it for 36 years myself, but every week I learn something new. And women in the industry, women in motion, it's a great opportunity for these ladies today. They are more than capable to do anything that any other person can do. And looking at her being a professional, I'm just inspired by her. That is fantastic.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Yep, absolutely. And 45 years in the trucking industry, Ben.
Wow. I somehow scraped out 36, but to see her in the industry and the way, just the safety part of it and the things have changed throughout the years, I think it's just fantastic.
Yep, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. And, this is something that I'm excited to see because I'm kind of watching it from the outside. I've watched women in trucking, and I watched their movement over the years and how they are absolutely making a difference in, this male dominated industry. And like you said, there's nothing that we do that they can't do. Matter of fact, there is some statistics say that they are better drivers than us.
I've heard that, but yeah.
I've been in the LTL.
Go.
Yeah, Susie, real quick, I've been in the LTL business for 36 years, and I've had 4 ladies work in the LTL business, and I would work beside them any day because they had a great work ethic.
Yes.
Right. So
anyway, there's
go ahead, Ben.
12% women in the industry, but I'll go ahead and let y'all go and continue the show. And very nice talking to you guys.
Hey, Ben, thank you for calling in. We do appreciate it. Ben is an actual supporter of the show, and he's been on here before. So, Ben, we thank you.
Love it, man. Y'all have fun. Thanks.
Yep.
Bye.
Thank you.
Truck safe.
Well, that was great. Good to hear from Ben. Ben's from Jacksonville, Florida, down there, and Ben is definitely a friend of the show, as well as Scott Post. Scott Post is a friend of the show. Scott had something to say on here earlier.
I just want to comment. What you said. Statistics are proving that women are in some ways better drivers than men. I'll tell you why. They have more patience. They are calmer, they got that mother nurturing. They'll let it go, and then, don't make her mad.
All good.
But years ago when I first started in the industry, like I said, there wasn't that many women out behind the wheel, and when I would run across a female driver, I could have some nice, serious conversations. And really, you're rolling through the night, and you're chit-chatting, you're talking about where you're from, you're talking about kids and grandkids and dogs and cats and horses, and you could really have a good conversation. And the maturity level was so much better than it was with a man. I'm telling you, some of these drivers out here. But back to my question, is there something that you have passed by or passed up or something that you would like to do before your career is up?
You're asking me?
Yes. Yeah, Susie, I'm sorry.
No, I never had children, which that was my choice because I chose trucking. That was my family. That's my industry. I missed out on a lot of things like, graduations, birthdays, anniversaries, especially being gone. Like when I moved away, I had no family there. I just moved on my own and started fresh. But as far as doing, I love the industry. I'm going to do it as long as I possibly can. I don't know if I'll make it as long as Candy Bass, but I'm going to sure give it a try anyway. So, no, she's my hero and my legend, like I said. But no, I'm just very happy with everything that's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because when I was out on the road, I'd take little mental notes of places I've been, places I want to go to someday on vacation, when I retire, something of that nature. I try to tell these young folks that ask me about trucking when I'm on my events and stuff. I said, the big thing is when you're doing a 34-hour restart like we got to do, I said, if you're in a place, go sightseeing. Get out of that truck. Go sightseeing.
Mhm.
Get you an Uber. Get you a Lyft. Go see something. Back in my early career, when I was running coast to coast, I went and toured the USS Alabama. I got a chance to go to one day at Mardi Gras down in New Orleans. Never been there in my life, and went and enjoyed it. Stopped down in Fort Payne, Alabama, went through the Alabama Museum, the Country Music Group, Alabama. I actually filled out an application to drive a truck for them. Never heard back from them. But,
There you go.
only had a couple years under my belt, so you're probably like, we don't want this kid. But
I remember seeing one of their trucks many, many years ago up in the Northwest somewhere. I was up there, and this was back before cell phone. You just, have a little disposable camera. And I remember taking a picture of their trailer, like, Alabama. I thought, oh my goodness, I was so excited, to see one of your country bands that you're in love with, and there they are, it wasn't an actual band, but it was their trailer hauling around their stuff. So I remember taking that picture. You mentioned Alabama.
yeah.
No, I was super excited when I got to go up my dedication last October at the TA, and I always loved 10-4 magazine. That was always my go-to magazine since day one. When I go to Little Sisters, get my truck washed, always had a copy of their magazine. Well, I got to go to Huntington Beach, which is the home of Jean, that has 10-4 magazine. She welcomed us all into her home and got to spend the night. She took us out to a great restaurant called Duke's. She bought us all dinner, my group of people that I was with, and like I said, that's her head office for 10-4. So I got to see the room where 10-4 all takes place and see all the magazines up on the wall. It was a dream come true. That was one of my experiences too, with part of my TA dedications, was going out to her place in Huntington Beach and welcome me in. And like I said, looking at the covers of all the 10-4 magazines and recognizing people that I've known over the years from seeing their magazines up there on her wall. I mean, it was just an awesome experience. Like I said, I treasure that moment.
Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we are at 8:58 Eastern time, and so we're gonna have to close the show out. But Susie, it's been a great experience. I do have one comment on the screen that Charlie Fuller put up there. He said, "Good evening, everyone. Awesome job, Susan. You are a perfect role model for women who are interested in getting into the trucking industry." So that's from Charlie Fuller. Yep.
Thank you, Charlie. I'm always here to help anybody I can. So thank you very much for that nice comment.
That's right. That's right. Well, we will be airing this again tomorrow at 9 a.m. right here on Truckers Voices and on YouTube, Truckers Voices. So, it will air again. So, Susie, you can tune in and watch yourself tomorrow if you got a chance.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, if you're not driving. So anyway, we always end the show. This is what I call the post trip portion of the show. We're post tripping the show, so we always end with a word of safety. And so, Susie, what would you say to any of our trucking friends out there about safety?
Plan your route and get the big picture of what's going on. Like I said, always check your weather, especially in winter conditions. And that was always my big go-to, was to have a big picture of what's going on around you, everybody exiting, entering the highway. But the main thing was weather conditions and checking your routes.
All right, that's good advice, especially in some of the conditions that you drive in up there.
Yeah, I hear you. We're getting a little better. It's starting to warm up a little bit now, so we're getting there.
Right, right. All right. So just hang around just for a minute after we go off the air, Susie, and I want to talk to you afterwards. Steve, word of encouragement, brother.
Put them phones down, folks. Distracted driving, it's not good. And with that being said, like I always say, remember the most important trip is that trip home.
Right, right.
Right.
And audience, we're so glad that you tuned in tonight. Some of you come, some of you went, some of you are hanging with us still. We do appreciate you being on Truckers Voices with us. And we hope that y'all have a great rest of your week. And remember, tomorrow's Friday. More people's going to be traveling for the weekend. So y'all look out for those who aren't looking out for themselves. We'll see you right here on Truckers Voices next week.